Hey everybody, it's David R. Becker here with BeckerArt, and today I want to talk to you about standard size framing. Why do you want to do standard size framing? It's a lot less expensive than doing custom framing. So to all my watercolor artists, if you want to take and make your cost of framing cheaper and not use glass or mat board, memorize these 15 standard sizes and take all your painting paper, your watercolor paper, or whatever you're painting on, make it to one of these sizes if you don't want to use glass or mat board. So if you want to use mat board or glass, then it's still remember these sizes. Because these sizes are what you can go to like a Jerry's Artorama, Cheap Joe's, Blick's, and order frames right online. Very inexpensive when they have a sale compared to custom framing. Custom framing, when we as watercolors, what we do is we just start painting, we tape up our painting, our paper, and we just go ahead and paint, right? And so then we have to find a standard custom size. Well, a standard size, we want to try to find a standard size, but a lot of times we can't get that because of what we just painted any size that we felt like at the moment. So take your paper and then cut it to one of these sizes if you want to do it where you're waxing it and not using glass, but putting it right into a frame size. There's one problem with that. Let me just show you really quickly about what that problem is. So if you are using wax and you're waxing your paintings, and first off, you need to make sure that you have the paper mounted on a board that makes it a little bit thicker. You can mount it on after or before you paint it. But so here's a painting I did that's mounted on a board. You know, it's mounted on a board. It's thick, and so it's mounted, paper mounted on a board. And so then I can wax it, and now I can just frame it in a regular frame, right? I don't have to put mat board on it. But notice what a lot of people are doing who are watercolorists, because they're used to doing these thinner frames. They put a thin frame on it. Now, a thin frame on a painting like this doesn't look as good as something that does have a mat on it. You know, a mat board with a frame just looks that much better. It just gives it more thickness to the frame. It gives it a little space to, see the frame, and it's like, ta-da, here's the painting. Here, it's just basically right up to the thing. Now, it all depends on what kind of framing you're doing, also what kind of style your painting is, and what you're going to hang this into. Like, what kind of room? Is it more modern? Is your painting more modern? Is your painting vignetted so that the outer edge is kind of white like a mat? So it all depends. But I found that, like, if you're just going to use a painting like this and put in a frame like that, it doesn't look as good. It doesn't look that good at all. Because, again, it doesn't have that matte, doesn't have that largeness to it. So what you have to do is do like oil painters do. And they take and they put a bigger frame on it, a larger frame. So here's a larger, and actually this is too big for this painting, but just to give you an example, you'd use a larger frame like this, plein air frame. And of course, pretend like that's not there. And so it just is a custom fit more to this kind of painting. And so this then acts like, this part of the frame acts like the mat that you have. And you still don't need a glass on it because we waxed it. So it just makes it a lot cheaper and easier actually also to frame your work. You're just taking not an underpinner, what do you call those? The guns, the point drivers. You take a point driver and you point drive that into the board, right into your frame, and you're done. Besides putting the wire on it. But that's so much more cheaper than doing all the glass, the mat board, and so it's just an easier way. And also, one thing you have to realize is that if you frame it like this, like an oil painter does, then you can also, a lot of times it's a little bit, galleries like them better because they don't have glass on it. For some reason, galleries do not like glass on, and the reason is because they can get more money for an oil painting. And so basically you can probably get a little bit more money for your work, making it look kind of more elegant and more like an oil painting. Oil painters have that stigma to them that they last longer and all that, but not really true. I mean, you can wax your paper and it's like putting a varnish on it. And so you can then, makes it easier for you to remember those 15 numbers, those 15 numbers that are right here again. So these are the frame sizes. So before you get started with anything, right away make your paper to this size, or your canvas board, or whatever you're working on. Or even if you're going to do the mats and you want to do the glass and the mats, that's fine, but you still need to go to these standard sizes. These standard sizes are the size you want to paint in. when it comes to the mat, or make your mat board that size so that when you go to get a frame, you can just go and get one of these 15 sizes. And this is excluding the square sizes. I didn't put square sizes in there because I don't paint very many square sizes. It's one of those things. It's kind of like the square or the circles. And so there's also circle sizes, and there are square. So squares, there's a lot of square sizes too that I didn't write down here because most of the watercolors don't do square. For some reason, we don't do much square. But if you do, they're still out there for you, but still do them standard size, square size frame. All right, and so, because they do have, certain sizes, they don't have like 13 by 13, it's mostly like 14 by 14 or 20 by 20. So there are also standard square sizes. So memorize these standard sizes and you'll save yourself a lot of money in the long run. And so if you want to get more tips like this, please come to my YouTube channel and subscribe. All right, and also like this if you liked this video. Please like it, and I can get you more and more and more. Each time I do a newsletter, I'm going to try to do a newsletter and give you a little video on some kind of tip. All right, so until next tip, we'll see you then. Thanks, and bye-bye.